the Holocaust that is going on in China right now with the Uyghur people. We conveniently ignore that because we're too wrapped up in what's going on Twitter or what the president is saying or what's going on with a celebrity trial. But there are millions of people who are being killed every day because they're not Chinese enough. And if more people could just see how the rest of the world lives, I feel it would give you a greater appreciation of what we have here and how important it is to keep it.
Okay. So, because the game I hate to play,
Okay.
and it might be my fault for how this conversation is being phrased right now, but I hate to play the game of, well, this is worse than that.
Sure.
Like, to me, you heard me, I want world peace, right? I don't like what's happening in Yemen. I don't like what's happening in Ukraine. I think they're both terrible. One we just pay attention to, the other one we don't, and I question that. And you bring up the Uyghur thing in China. You know, some of it comes very honestly, I think. Where I get confused is why we do care about the stuff that happens in like Europe like so much when it does even here versus when it happens in other places, including like the one in China. And you know, the guy Chamath, I never pronounced the name right, I'm really sorry, but the guy Chamath Palihapitiya, maybe that's how you say it. He's a billionaire, former high Facebook guy, like high-ranking Facebook guy, who is a venture capitalist, very, very smart guy.
Okay.
He's got a podcast, I want to say it's called the All In Podcast with Jason Calacanis and some of the guys out in Silicon Valley. But he took a lot of shit, I think it was last year, with the way he delivered a statement where the Uyghur thing came up. And like it was a very memeable moment, unfortunately. I understood what he was trying to say. He got ripped for it. I get what he's trying to say. But essentially, it was along the lines of like the clip that was taken completely out of context was him saying, that is below my line. It's like holding up his hand. He's like, genocide, below my line of caring.
Got it.
Came across very wrong.
Okay.
Very poor delivery. What the greater point he was trying to make is kind of what you're saying, which is that we have things to worry about here. We can't see that there. That is inside of a totalitarian regime that we're going to have to deal with at some point.
Sure.
Right now, it's not like we can just drop the U.S. forces in there to free this place. It's not a realistic thing, which is very sad, but it's unfortunate, but it's kind of a reality. And so in my list of things that I can sit here and actually affect in my seat making this content as a billionaire that people actually listen to, that is below my line, right?
Sure.
I get that. How do we determine that line, though? Why is that below the line, but then, like, Ukraine isn't? Why aren't they both above the line? You know, is it literally because of what I said? Like, oh, well, one we can kind of affect, the other we technically can't right now. Is that all it is?
I think there's a couple of things that you're touching on here. First, I want to touch on the human element. Okay. So I'm going to bring up a very controversial point, but I came up all the way to this podcast, and I'm on the East Coast, so fuck it. There's LeBron James is a very politically divisive figure, obviously, for some of his statements. And
Some things, yeah.
One of the things that he's brought up is police reform and police brutality is a subject that's very important to him, and rightfully so. The free speech is something that I believe in very strongly in America. I think it is very hypocritical of him to say, hey, there needs to be all these changes in America. Why is all these atrocities of police brutality occurring in the first place? This is a racist country. However, when Chinese officials that are big fans of the NBA say, hey, you brought up Taiwan as a nation and you need to now apologize for it because a big part of the funding that comes from, the viewership that the NBA watches comes from a Chinese audience.
You're saying when they say that to other people and he doesn't speak up about it.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, meaning it is hard to ask the American public to care about a particular issue that may not affect them while also not caring about another political issue that you're not a part of. Meaning, okay, I will apologize for my statements and say whatever the Chinese nation wants me to say in regards to this Taiwan situation because they're funding me and they're paying me and I'm an NBA star and I can follow the money that comes from the NBA and knows that a big part of the viewership comes from a Chinese audience. I'm just not going to pay attention to the genocide that is occurring in China right now. And if your problem with America is racism and the atrocities that occur here, and there's plenty of them, I can say with confidence that Holocaust-style camps and rounding up people and the re-education of an entire racial group of people to become more Mandarin is not occurring in the United States. It is very hypocritical when very pronounced not political figures, but celebrity figures in the United States conveniently ignore those things, but ask other people to pay attention to political subjects that may be more important to them. And I think that idea can be broadened out across all people.
Thank you for watching the video, guys. Please hit that subscribe button and check out this clip's full podcast episode by clicking here or in the description below.